Hello everyone, Hamas28 here, and today we're back in the world of Dusty Hell. Let's get right into it. So, since last episode, we're about ready to kickstart the Industrial Revolution. I was messing about on my creative world trying to figure some stuff out, and I finally managed to learn how to build the high oven so we can extract triple yield from our ores. Now you can see from over here, our ore Why is there cobblestone in here? There should not be cobblestone in there. That has to be gravel. I'm still not sure why. I need to fix this to be better. Because if you take a look, it's a quite robust system. So as you can see, on the left side here, I have mechanical miners constantly getting cobblestone. That gets pushed into a basic drawer. Then the cobblestone gets pushed to these mechanical users and gets broken down into gravel. Oh, I see why, because this is broken. I'm going to need to put in some more hammers. Then the hammers break it down into gravel. These ones place gravel again to make... Oh, and this one's full too. And it's getting filled with gravel. It should only be full of sand, so I don't know how gravel's getting in there. That's odd. My work is never done. But then this one makes dust. And then it gets processed in our sieves over here and exported into all these storage drawers. Very neat. Now, sadly, the chunks, I thought that because there are compacting drawers, as you can see, I was hoping the compacting drawers would automatically compact the iron ore pieces for us, but they do not. So instead I have a bunch of analog crafters that are made to hold all the pieces and auto-craft them into the chunks for me. And that's essentially how it works. It's not fully automatic yet because I still need a way to fill... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I still need a way to fill all of the mechanical users with hammers. I still have to do it manually, which is a little bit slow. But hey, we're now getting tons of resources pretty easily now, which is very nice. Now, taking the chunks and processing them in a furnace only yields 1-to-1. Now I can break them down manually in the grindstone to get double the yield, but that's really slow. So what we want to do is use all of our scorched bricks to make a high oven so we can triple the yield. Now to build the high oven, you just grab your scorched bricks and let's see, our storage is over there actually. So maybe... No, this is fine because I'll build more later on. You build a base 3x3 layer like so. Then you take your high oven controller and you can place it in any layer except the bottom and the top layer. Then you just place another layer on top, leave the middle hollow, and then if you cap it up like so, it works. And this is the smallest version. As you can see, it has an input for what you want to melt. It has 3 secondary inputs for alloys. For example, if you want to turn iron into steel, you have to make sure these have the prerequisite recipe inside. The middle slot is for your fuel, and then the right side is the capacity. So you can see it only stores 12 ingots. If you want to make it store more, you have to build it taller, which is where more of these scorched pavers and bricks are going to come into play, which means I'll probably head back to the city over there and see if I can steal some more, because that'll save me some time. But to actually get stuff in and out through automation, that's what we need the other stuff for. Cast items using molten metals from the high oven. I'm not actually sure if you need this one specifically, but since it says from a high oven, I'll probably need to do that. Alright, so I excavated the rest of the high thingamabob. I also saw that there were 2 other structures, as you could see, with the same orange pattern, and I was able to loot even more scorched bricks, along with a scorched casting basin, a scorched casting table, and an ingot cast. A lot of good stuff. And then I saw, even downstairs, in the dust, there's actually blocks of copper and iron and other stuff. I'm going to leave that because I'm not quite sure what triggers the pigmen. I mean, I know what triggers the pigmen into being hostile. If you break structures, the pigmen don't like that and they'll attack you. I just don't know what counts as a structure. But this should be enough stuff to make a really big high oven, and I think we're good to go. Now let's see, what time is it? Can't actually tell. So we eat some zombie jerky. I also got 57 dust, so we'll be able to build a tower to hang glide out of here. Alright, we made it back to base. Let's see if we can get back inside real quick. And let's finish off our high oven. So, now that we also have a bunch of the scorched bricks as well, we can also build the other things we're going to need. Probably should plug these holes so I don't fall down. Regardless, so let me dig out here. And on the other side, because we need a way to interact with it through automation. So we're going to make the drain is for fluid input and output. The chute is for the meltable items. And the duct is for the oxidizer, reducer, purifier, and fuel input. Oh, we need steel for that. Interesting. I need steel to make it. Can I make steel in here? I don't think I can, steel. Because I know you can make steel in the high oven. Electrical steel. Oh, there's so many types of steel. Steel ingot. Yeah, this is not what I want. Thermal foundation. Casting. Molten steel. High oven mixing. So see, you can make steel by mixing anything that melts into iron with niter, sulfur, gunpowder, aluminum dust or redstone, and sand to make molten steel. But if I need steel just to make it... Oh, I'm silly. Silly me. I could just manually make the first batch of steel. So you put your drain over here, put the chute right here. So the chute was which thing? Yeah, for meltable input. So this would be how we put in our iron, amongst other stuff. It's getting quite hot. Let me drink some orange juice. Scorched drain. So for now, we could just put the casting table with the ingot cast, like so. And with that, he's completed. Now we can make our first batch of steel. And thusly, the Industrial Revolution began. So, to get it started, we just need those 4 components. So you can see it's actually quite complicated to make steel. But, thanks to the high oven, we now get triple the yield out of our chunks here. So let me grab some iron chunks. We just need 1 for right now. And then we're going to need a block of coal. We're going to need gunpowder, sand. Why are we not getting any sand? Oh, because it's clogged with cobblestone, of course. So firstly, you're going to make a block of coal. Place it in here. Wait, what? Oh, I think it has to be charcoal. I don't think you can use coal to make our first steel. Now it is quite slow, which is why I wanted to build such a big one. Because if you take a look here, you put this in here, then we put our gunpowder, redstone, and sand. And then if you put your iron ore, not enough heat to melt this item. In order to melt it, high oven mixing, you need to reach 381 degrees Celsius. As you can see, we're slowly increasing. And this is due to the block of charcoal. I did see that there are other ways to make it go higher. Like if you have Britannia, it actually improves the efficiency of the high oven. But since we don't have any of that, we just have to rely on charcoal to get this to the temperature we need. Now then, let me drink this final orange juice, because we're starting to overheat again. That's why it sucks being outside. But it's so tall, I didn't want to build it downstairs. Okay, now we're at temperature, and it's starting to melt. So you can see it's really, really slow, which is why I wanted to build it taller, so we can process more at a time. It also has a quirk that it cannot melt something into the capacity if it's different from what's already in there. So if you melt an iron ore chunk and the tin chunk at the same time, they'll both progress to be melted. But if there's already iron ore in here, molten iron, the tin will wait for this one to leave, which is really annoying. But there's really not much you can do to get around that. Let's see, we need the scorched. How do I make the thing? There we go, scorched faucets. Like so. And it should be done melting pretty soon. Now, usually I don't like using the basin because it takes 9 ingots. So you can see 3 ingots of molten steel. Like so. Let's see, I should be able to put this here, right? Perfect. To make our steel. And now we can fill this. Oh, you can see they didn't get used. Now we can fill this with our iron ore chunks to start making 3 times the iron. So a single stack will yield 3 stacks of iron, which is insane value. Go ahead and break this. And then that should start casting. So I'll just need a chest and a hopper. And now that we have access to tons of iron, we could start working in Tech Town because we're going to have to blow up quite a lot of iron ingots to get our compressed iron ingots. And I have 2 stacks ready to blow up. Now it is getting quite hot again, so let me drink a kiwi juice, cool ourselves down, and we can use the explosion to also clear up some of this dust. So this should be a good spot for it, like right here. So if we throw down our TNT, along with 2 stacks of iron, and blow it up, cover your ears please. Whoa, that explosion was massive. But it made 50 ingots of compressed iron. Oh wait, no, it actually made a lot more. I already had some compressed iron, which is why it looked a little off. But now, with almost 2 stacks, we can start working on... Oh, with 2 stacks of compressed iron, we can start getting into trouble in Tech Town. First things first, not quite steam power. Welcome to Pneumaticraft, a mod you'll either love or absolutely hate. Either way, it's here in this pack, and it's quite big, a big part of it, so get used to it. To start, we'll need pressure tubes and an air compressor. So let me go downstairs and grab the rest of our Pneumaticraft items that we looted from the building. Pressure tubes. And we don't have anything else that we'll need from that. So let's go ahead and make the air compressor, which will take tube and a furnace, along with some ingots. Furnace, air compressor. This machine is used to generate compressed air. To do this, insert any solid fuel item that can burn in a furnace into the fuel slot. Note, fuel buckets will not work. Use a liquid compressor for burning liquid fuels. Advancement made, building up the pressure. And with that we get another 4 pressure tubes, a rose bush, cactus seed, and the choice between a pressure gauge or an ingot. I'll take the pressure gauge. Now let's go ahead and plant these, because I'm guessing we're going to need quite a lot of roses to generate red dye. Let's see, should be able to plant it like right here. It should work. Luckily in this pack, if you want to duplicate a plant, you just have to right click the base with some fertilizer, and you can make a bunch more. Then we do have to plant this cactus, which I think can only go on sand. So let me remove one of these guys. Perfect. And you can't bone meal it, so we'll just have to wait for that to grow. But with that, we need to craft the chamber, which is the basis for Pneumaticcraft crafting. One of the main crafting mechanics of this mod. For that, we're going to need a pressure valve, a pressure chamber glass, and the wall. Luckily, I have played with Pneumaticraft before, so I do understand how the mod works. It's actually quite fun once you get used to it. We put away that stuff so we can have some space in our inventory. Essentially, what we have to do is build a 3x3, 5x5, or 7x7 chamber out of pressure chamber walls and glass, and then you need the valves to access the input and output. So to make these we need, oh, luckily they made it really cheap. It's 8 for 16, which is really good. Usually it's a bit more expensive than that, so 16 of these. And we should have some more downstairs, along with the pressure chamber glass. How do you make the glass actually? I should probably check that out. 8 and some glass. Okay, that's pretty good. Let me make 2 of these. Actually, you also get 16, so that should be a good enough amount. And we're gonna need the pressure chamber valves, which are just made. We can make 16 of them at a time using 1 tube and 8 compressed iron, or we can make 4 using the blocks. I'd rather just make a lot, because I think we'll need a lot more. Block tracker updates, valves, chamber interfaces. Aerial interface. Interesting. So do this with our tubular guy. And then, doesn't look like you use these to craft anything, but I could always use more if I want to make more pressure chambers. Quest completed, we get 4 redstone servos and the choice between any colored plastic or compressed iron. I'm gonna take the compressed iron, because we'll make more plastic eventually. And then, why are these locked? Pressure chamber IO. Not necessary for a pressure chamber to work, but you'll likely want one if you have any self-love remaining. I'm assuming this can be used to import and export items from the pressure chamber. Lovely. I'll probably want... No, I think 1 should work. So we just need a bit more iron. And I blew up all the iron, didn't I? Let me grab some more. In order to make our interface. So we need a chest, then we need a hopper, then we combine the hopper with the pressure chamber wall to make the pressure chamber IO, item duct, and redstone servos. I love all the free stuff. Now I wonder why these aren't unlocked. Looking at the quest, I'm guessing it's because from here on out, we need to go up this way for the coal and oil processing and then loop back around to electronics. So first things first, let's build the Pneumaticraft chamber, and I think we'll put it... I need a lot of space for this. So I think we'll expand this way into this section over here, because then I can also dig down as well. So I'm going to clear that spot out, and then we'll come back once we have our Pneumaticraft area done. Alright, so I've cleared out this patch. Oh, I got rid of a torch up there. Let me fix that real fast. So, as I was saying, I cleared out a patch for Pneumaticraft, and we're going to put this underground so we don't have to suffer from the sun's heat like we do with the high oven. It'd be funny if the efficiency increased during the day because it gets so hot, but that's not quite how it works. So, first things first, we're going to build our pressure chamber. Now, the video I was watching did say, I think you need 2 of these. It imports on the I face and exports on the O face. Okay, so yeah, we will need 2 pressure chamber interfaces. So I'm going to have to grab a little bit more wood because we're all out, I think. Because I converted all the wood we had into charcoal. Yep, so let me grab some wood. Oh, I thought it fell in here. Whoops. Luckily though, the air compressor is powered by coal, so I don't have to worry about that. Alright, so now we should be good to go. So now to actually build this thing, we're just going to take our walls and our glass along with the pressure chamber valve and the interface, and I think I'm going to build the 4x4 version. Actually, I wonder, does it show the crafting? Yeah, I think everything... Yeah, because the most is this one, etching acid bucket, which takes 5 ingredients, which shows a 5x5, but that should be able to still fit in a 4x4. Actually, wait, a 4x4... 1, 2, 3, 4 holds 4 on the inside. No, so we'll make it 5 by 5 to start. So we'll come into this side over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like so. This will be our base. We don't need to be stingy with materials. We have a lot of compressed iron ingots. So we're going to build a 5 by 5 to start off, and that should cover pretty much every recipe. Now the only thing about making a 5 by 5 is that because it's bigger, it takes longer for the pressure to build. 2, 3, 4, 5, which is really the only concern you have to worry about. It'll just take a little bit longer. Then usually I only really put the glass on the sides I'm looking out of, because you don't need glass everywhere. So we'll put a pressure chamber interface. The valve will go here. We'll put the glass on this side. And we'll put the input and output over here. So as you can see, they both say I. So I need output to be on this side. There we go. Input and output. And now with just a little bit more, we can finish it off. And then once it's done, it should click into place. Is there glass right here? It's kind of hard to tell. Oh, it's on that side. Whoops, I forgot I fell at the wall. And done. So you can see, it looks quite cool. A balanced crafting system. So you can see the input and output. It looks a little bit funky. I don't know why the renderer is like that. But now we just have to connect the pressure from the back here with our pressure tubes. Like so. And let me see, there should be, because the max pressure on this is 5, if I type at pneumatic, and I type tube. Okay, there are the advanced versions, because I believe in Ocean Block you have Pneumaticcraft, and I think there was a higher tier than that. But if this one only has the advanced ones, that should be fine. But you can see to make the advanced tubes, we are going to need an assembly controller, which means that'll come later. The only difference is these pressure tubes max out at 5 bar, which means anything over than that will explode. This module emits a redstone signal, the strength of which depends on the tube's pressure. When upgraded with an advanced PCB, the threshold can be configured precisely via the GUI. And now we're all set. So that's really all you have to do to set up the chamber. Then you just have to power this guy. Now there are a couple of things. This is what the pressure gauge is for, because you can also make a security module. Which is this one. Which essentially you plug it in here, and when it reaches the danger zone, it starts ejecting the extra pressure so it never explodes. I really dislike it though, because it makes such an annoying sound. Luckily, it's not that difficult to craft, as you can see. Really cheap. We will need some electrum plates though, which we'll just have to cast, which isn't too bad, it's just a little annoying. We'll use the smeltery for that later on. But now that that is solved, we need to start processing our coal and our oil. So before we do that, I'm going to put a roof on this and then we'll get started. Alright, so first things first with processing is we're going to need a bunch of coal. This is how it all starts. We're going to take our coal and then we're going to throw it into our smeltery here. And we're going to melt it down into liquefacted coal. Now we're then going to have to, yeah, this is hardened, so let me move this guy. And grab a portable tank. Now this should, why is it so slow? Might want to make a bigger smeltery too, so we could process more coal at a time. Because we're going to melt down the coal into liquefacted coal. And then with the liquefacted coal, that's how we're going to process it into our stuff. So, is it in there? Yes. How is it? I didn't tell it to pull, so I'm not sure why it pulled it automatically. That's odd. But once we have liquefied coal, we're going to convert it into oil. And to do so, we're going to need a vortex tube. We're going to need a heat sink. And we're going to need 2 refineries. Most of this is pretty easy to make, and I think we already have some of this. Let's double check. Man, even at night it's so hot. Let's see. I thought we picked up some of those materials. I guess it was only just the assembly controllers. Regardless, we should be able to craft some of these. We're going to need some diamonds. So I think it said we needed 2 refineries, along with some glass. So 2 refineries. We're going to need a heat sink, which will take an electrum plate. So we're going to have to cast one of these, because I don't actually have a compactor yet, but we're almost there. How do I get a plate, though? Plate cast. You need a plate to make the cast. But how do I make the plate in the first place? Oh, a clay plate, which is just 2 clay. 2 clay, fire this guy. Then we're going to need electrum, which I believe is an alloy. Molten electrum. High oven melting. Where's the dust? There we go. Of gold and silver. Oh, we have 2. Perfect. And that should get all of those. We're going to need our iron bars. And then for the vortex tube, we're going to need more electrum. So I actually need to make some more of that, and that was gold and silver. Gold and silver. I'm going to convert all of this into electrum real quick, and then we should have everything we need to finish the rest of the machines. And now that we have the plate, we can make our heatsink, and we can make our vortex tube. Splits incoming air into hot and cold components. One side will be heated, the other cooled. Its air usage is dependent on the pressure. Mind that the heat will slowly leak between the hot and cold sides, so it's more efficient to vent the cold side when you want to utilize the heat, and vice versa if you want to use the cold. Whatever that means. Now let me put this guy back right here. Made the advancement because you're hot, then you're cold. You're yes, then you're no. In, then you're out. Up, then you're down. Pressure tube, more flue ducts, and redstone servos. And then there's the optional quests that show that you can actually get more from each coal used. This one is for the processing for the LPG. And liquid fuel, some of the stuff you got isn't that useful, I know. However, it's highly flammable, so burn it. We can make a liquid compressor, which will be a good way to get a lot of pressure. So let me craft that guy. Liquid compressor using pressure tube, bucket, air compressor, and leather. Leather, pressure tube, air compressor. Air compressor. We're going to need a furnace. Let me craft one. Air compressor. And we need a bucket. Where'd all my iron blocks go? There we go. 1, 2, 3. Bucket and liquid compressor. Liquid fuel advancement better than coal. Then life in plastic, it's fantastic. Then pump the LPG from your distilling setup into some thermo-pneumatic processing plant, or TPP for short. Feed it some coal and some pressure, and boom, liquid plastic. And this guy just takes glass and our compressed iron. So that should be everything we need to start processing plastic. Of course, the only bottleneck is I need a better way to produce liquefied coal, which means we need a bigger smeltery, which will take more lava, but we can work on that later. So let me move some of this dust out of the way, and we could actually move this downstairs maybe, because it's kind of hot up here. We could have it pump downstairs, and yeah, I think that would work perfectly. And then we can set up the supply line. Alright, so after a lot of trial and error, I got it working. So as you can see, we have the smeltery up above that's pulling the liquefied coal downstairs into the refinery. As you can see, I built 2 more because I took a look at the quest book and it wasn't in the quest book. It was actually here. Either 2, 3, or 4 worked. With 2, you produce diesel in the bottom, but with 4, you get all the fuels and it's more efficient. So I just went ahead and made 2 more because it was quite cheap. You could see the liquefied coal is now inside the refinery. Now for this to run, we're going to have to provide this with heat. The required temperature is 100 degrees Celsius for this to run, and it even tells you. Machine is poorly insulated. 11 of the 24 block faces are exposed to the air, which wastes heat. Ensure no neighboring blocks are air blocks to better insulate the machine. What this is talking about is you can actually do this and cover it so it's not touching the air, like so. 1 of 24. Of course, if you block it completely, you can't really access the inside or see it. So I might use, I have glass on me. So I'm going to replace the front ones with glass so you can actually see what's going on. And so we can actually see inside of it, because I will have to pump stuff out to actually, use it. Although I'm not sure how you pump it out. I'm guessing each tank stores something different, so you need 4 different pipes. But to actually run this, we're going to have to provide this vortex tube with some pressure. Now we do have the liquid compressor that we can run off of the byproducts of the refinery, but for right now, we're going to have to steal this guy over here and use the air compressor with some coal to provide that initial jump start. And then it should just work pretty easily. Do it like that. Put in some coal like so. Now you can see no problems. The pressure is slowly starting to build. Oh, let me disconnect this. If you have multiple things in the system, it will steal pressure. So you can see the pressure is now starting to grow inside the vortex tube. It's at 0.3 bar, and the temperature difference is starting to increase. Now it does look like the east temperature, which is this one, is getting hotter. That doesn't make sense. Oh, this is east. Perfect. Which means it should get there pretty soon. So we're at 94, 95, 96, and it's gonna turn on. Cool, it's working. So it looks like as soon as it gets to 100, it kind of hovers there and starts processing the liquefied coal. And now we're producing LPG, naphtha, kerosene, and diesel. Now, let's take a look at what we can use these for. Diesel uses. Now, we can throw diesel into the thermo-pneumatic processing plant to make lubricant. Or we can burn it in the compression dynamo for 1 million RF, which is pretty good. Now, lubricant is used in the creation of speed upgrades, apparently, but I don't actually see the crafting here. Because I know Pneumaticcraft has them at new... What type speed? Oh, here it is. I wonder why you don't see that here. Well, it does show a bucket of lubricant. So if you want to make speed upgrades, you need lubricant for that. Then we have kerosene and diesel. And why are you freaking out? Apply more heat. Yeah, it's just, it can't get hot enough. So the efficiency right now is pretty low, but we can produce a lot of stuff. And so far, oh, see, that's funny. We accidentally stored air in the compressor because of the air compressor, which is not what we wanted. And I think either the mod can't recognize that we're underground, or this space is now too big and it's starting to heat up. So I might have to go even deeper, because you could see before it used to be quite cool, but that room is quite warm. Or maybe it's actually just because of the refinery. That could be the case. So I'm going to chill in our water here to cool down. And now we just need to pump the LPG into the plastic mixer. And we can start producing our plastics. So grab our plastic mixer. And now that we're deeper in Pneumaticraft, I should be able to craft some gear that will help keep us cool. So which one stores the LPG? It's the top one. So we're going to have to pump out of the top. And I'm guessing this also takes temperature, plastic mixer, problems, no dyes, add items to the top. It doesn't say it needs anything. This machine requires or produces heat. Gotcha. So this will take heat as well. Interesting. So we're going to have to pump naphtha, and then I think we'll need another vortex tube to supply the heat. And then it seems like one air compressor is good enough. I wonder if there's better ways to transfer heat around the room. Because if I can just produce a lot of heat in one area, and then have it pushed, that would be a lot more efficient. Now I don't see anything that says stuff about moving heat here. Let's take a look at Pneumaticraft. So if we want to move heat around, there are heat sinks, vacuum pumps, pressure chamber interfaces. If I type heat, what do we see? Can be placed on any inventory. When heated by an adjacent heat source, it will try to smelt any item in the inventory. No, that's not what we want. Block that disperses heat into the air, it only connects to the block it's on. When an air grate tube module is pointed at it, its effectiveness is greatly increased. Air grate tube module. Air grate tube module. This module will repel or attract any entity within range dependent on whether pressure is positive or negative. Interesting. And then what is this air conditioning upgrade? Pneumatic chest plate. I want to see that. Chest plate air conditioning upgrade. Will take a basic control circuit and these air canisters, but it can protect you from fire and lava, and if we can put in an air conditioning upgrade, that will help us beat the heat. Which seems pretty cool. Let's see, so we need to move heat into the liquid. We need to move heat into the mixer. So we might need another vortex tube. Heat will slowly leak, so it's more efficient to vent the cold side when you want to utilize the heat. There's got to be a better way to do this. Alright, so actually the next step was making a thermo-pneumatic processing plant. What did that finish? Oh, it was from over here, that's funny. 2 PCBs, nice. And now, we just need to plug in our LPG into this, and this will produce our plastic. So if we come out over here, oh, it's tiny. It's so cute. Let's see, so if I turn you off, let's make an LPG. There should be some LPG in here that I'm gonna have get pulled out of this. Let me steal this. And I think some of them got pulled into here. Nope, never mind. So we should be able to do this, and then have this, pull it all out, perfect. So now the LPG is in here, and we want it to get processed into plastic. And to do so, we just need to add a little bit of coal. And does it need pressure or heat? Let's see. Pressure or heat? Let's find out. Coal goes in here. And it looks like it needs both. It needs pressure and heat. Problems. Apply more heat by adding blocks that generate heat. Machine is poorly insulated, yada yada. Anything else? No. Heat. This machine requires or produces heat. Gotcha. Oh, it even gives you tips on what you can use to get more heat. To cool down a machine, remove heat sources or speed up the process by placing ice. Interesting. So, to turn LPG and coal into liquid plastic, we need 100 degrees. Oh, and no temperature. Perfect. Now, it does say you can use a torch. So, if I put a torch here, does that heat it up? It said it's very slow. What if I put more torches? What if I put a torch under it? Like so. Yeah, that's really slow. Now, funnily enough, I did think, oh, what about lava? Lava's really hot, and lava actually works. So if we come out over here, and I grab some lava from our crucible, we can actually just put the lava bucket underneath, and it will provide enough heat to start the chemical reaction and produce our plastic. So if you just, oh, let me move this back. You can see it heats up very fast and it's making liquid plastic. Now the funny thing is, I thought, wow, this is perfect. It's free, it heats up the machines. This is great. If you look, it will slowly turn the lava into obsidian. Okay, so we put our servo in here, set you to pull. That's going to pull the plastic inside. And now it's saying there's no cactus dye. That's fine. It should still work without it, I think. Oh, so I have to tell it. So we have to make 4 green, 12 black, and 12 cyan. So we can start by making the 12 cyan. Oh, that was fast. Oh, you just click it and you're good to go. Oh, and then you can lock the selection. It will produce as many as possible of that item. So if I just type in this, like that. So we're at, how much plastic do we get out of this? So 100 millibuckets of LPG produces 1,000 liquid plastic, and then you need 1,000 to make the sheet. So I'm gonna need more heat, is what I'm hearing. But now it works. We can produce a bunch of plastic. Oh, that was the rewards. Not how much you need, just any plastic. So now we have those. That quest is done. Endless potential. Look, Pneumaticcraft is a massive mod with lots of cool stuff to do and play with. It's impossible to cover it all in a quest book. If I were you, I'd check some of the more in-depth parts of it, like the logistics system, drones, and other fun stuff. And now we can go to electronics. Don't worry, soon you'll get your first few machines, but there's a couple other steps you need to do first. We need to make 3 transistors, 3 capacitors, and an empty PCB. And then to make these, you need black plastic, redstone, and some other stuff. Oh, that's pretty easy. It's just using the pressure chamber. And then just cook PCBs. Oh, green plastic and compressed makes it. So I'll need another air compressor to power this guy. Let's see, air compressor. Air compressor. Advanced. It's a tier 2 version. Using any fuel. Oh. Oh, but you need the advanced tube, which I don't have yet. Tube and furnace. Air compressor. Hook this guy back up. What is making that sound? Air is leaking. Oh, that's why. There we go. Now it's not leaking. So now we have to wait for this. Now let's see. Yeah. Pressure chamber. This is the input. This is the output. Export mode. Import mode. Pressure 0.1 bar. So it's going to fill very slowly because it is quite big. Maybe I should have made a smaller one for the plastics. I mean for this stuff. Capacitor. But then, once we're done with that, we'll get to the Buildcraft assembly table, circuits, UV exposure, dip your PCBs in sulfuric acid, and then we'll finally get access to tier 1 circuits. Now, this episode has gone on quite long, and I'm going to have to improve a lot of our stuff to make this a smoother experience. For example, I really need to fix this machine. I don't know why stuff keeps getting stuck. I need to figure out how to fix that. This won't be an issue once I have access to the vacuumulator. as you can see here, from thermal expansion. We just need basic control circuits, which we're almost at. And the accumulator is essentially this item collector here, but it's a lot cheaper than the range collector. And then we just have to automate sending coal from our storage drawer into that so we can keep up with the liquefied coal and keeping this hot enough to run. Now, it did mention that you want to have these you want it to passively make the chips, but it seems like this is going to take a lot of steps, and I'm going to have to make multiple plastic machines to really get this going. But it seems like our biggest bottleneck right now really is the heat. We can't produce enough heat to make this go fast enough, which is funny. I wonder how I can make things get hotter, because you could see we have a heat sink, but I think the only way we can make it go, the only way we can improve our heat production is with better, better air compressors. So we can push more pressure, because you could see the pressure in here is only 1 bar, and that's pretty much our bottleneck with the heat production. Once we have more heat, it shouldn't be a problem. I can't wait for next episode, because I think next episode we're going to make the pneumatic gear. PN Pneumatic. We're going to make the pneumatic gear. That way we can install an air conditioning unit, and we'll never have to worry about heat again. But, as always, I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you guys next time.